Oh, welcome. Cornbread and Kool-Aid podcast on the air for week 5 of the 2021 season. And those of you who know me know how much I love doing this, but I don't always love doing this. I hope you enjoyed the podcast today. Shout out to the super producer extraordinaire, Mike Ward. Sometimes it's not easy, right? So I'm going to jump right in and another loss on the last play of the game, a field goal. There's so much to get into, but I'm gonna start off like with a little disclaimer, right? When I decided to do this, the whole idea was after the Lions games, there's this process, right, that we go through. All of us, right? I know so many people, right? That was texting during the game. My cousin Chuck, my friend Art. Um, we go through it. And so the truth is, with about 3 minutes left in this game today, this was going to be an easy podcast. I knew it. I was like, this one will be easy. I'll hit some stats, I'll do some social, I'll give my thoughts on where they are. And I'm cool with where they are for the most part. That was 3 minutes left in the game. I think they were down 16-6, whatever. And this was supposed to be easy, right? But then this is the thing that they kind of do. And I won't say those 3 letters. And there are people who are saying it, they're posting it as we speak. They love saying it. I'll never say those 3 things, those 3 letters, because I don't believe in it, right? And I did that last week, so I'm not going to do it again. I would say this was a tough watch. In general, this was a kind of a boring, ugly game. I didn't particularly enjoy this game for 3 3/4 of it. It's 2 bad teams. I still contend Minnesota's not very good. You feel all that stuff. Like, man, they're doing all the stuff that a not very good football team's going to do. An undisciplined team, a young team, a team devoid of talent. Don't forget that. I'll go back to that. I think the way I like to say it is talent deficient. They don't have enough talented players. No. They didn't have enough talented players to start the season. Now they've got a bunch of injuries. So wherever down there less than talented team is, then you take away 3, 4, 5 of their best players, right? Do I see improvement? So after the last few minutes happened, I felt a certain kind of way. And I had to check myself and say, what do we, you're just doing a podcast. There's some real life stuff going on. Go talk about the game, right? And I decided to check social before. I was doing it live on the last podcast, and I just didn't like what I was seeing. And you know what? I didn't like it today either. So then I just decided, you know what? This ain't that serious, man. This is a podcast about watching a football. This ain't that serious. So go turn on the mic and have some fun. So I'm just gonna go through it, right? And there's good and bad and there's ugly, but I have to remember there's a saying, and I should have looked it up to quote it perfectly because I'm on a camera and a microphone, but I don't really care that much. It says something to the effect of happiness or sadness, maybe success or failure, are largely a product of expectation, right? It's something like that. And you can go to at Cornbread Pod and tell me the actual quote if you want. I don't think I care. What do we expect? What do you expect, right? And I got my Twitter feed up. So if you want to go to Twitter or if you want to text me, because my brother's going to text me probably during the game, whatever. What do we expect? I know what I hoped for. And I did a preseason pod of what I hoped for. And I think Art and I both had them at 8 wins, maybe even 9, because I thought that the Green Bay game wouldn't matter at the end of the season. That's what I hoped for, right? Because we hadn't seen them. We didn't know the defensive scheme. We didn't know the play calling. We didn't know golf, right? And I think I'm still a golf guy. But Jared Goff makes 2 bad mistakes every game. And we can't have that. I don't blame strip sacks on him. That's a lineman getting beat, by the way. That's not his fault. But he made a bad decision today and threw a costly interception. But there is something that you see. I don't even call it the fight, the comeback, whatever, however you want to term that they don't give up thing. I don't really care about that today. That I'm not gonna hold that up today as a thing we need to talk about. Today was a bad loss. They lost to a bad team in a game they led with 34 seconds, 37 seconds. It's a bad loss. Like last week was a bad loss also. But I mean, I think I can make a case this team could have 2 wins and they were competitive in the third game. And the same people who are going to rip me and send me crap messages on social for the podcast or somewhere saying whatever they say are going to want them to tank later for the draft picks. I'll never do that. That's fine. So, by the way, can we stop the Penei Sewell's going to get a Hall of Fame jacket as a left tackle? When Decker comes back, put Decker at left, move Penei Sewell back to right tackle. We'll have a better offensive line that way. Just wanted to get that in. I won't stay on it. So back to my point, because I just totally jumped down a rabbit hole. With 3 minutes left, this was an easy podcast. You guys might not have enjoyed it that much. I don't know. But it was going to be an easy podcast with 3 minutes left in that game. And I thought, okay, I mean, I'll get on. We know what they are. They're a bad team. They went on the road. The Vikings aren't particularly good, but they made fewer mistakes than we did. And then they made a catastrophic mistake and we capitalized. And then you're like, wait, what? And so now it's like, okay, this is going to be interesting. And I don't think it's those 3 letters that people want to talk about. I did text my friend Art. We left too much time on the clock. Not that I knew what was going to happen, because even as they lined up for the field goal, I'm not that guy who's going, oh, I knew it. And you're going to have somebody on social. I'll go pull something from social. Some jackass is going to say, as soon as they scored the 2-point conversion, I knew it. You did not know it. You were as happy as me and Art were. And you just now want to get on there and say that. So it's a tough loss. 1917 was the final, in case you didn't see it. We'll get into everything kind of that happened. Lions score and get a 2-point conversion with, I want to say, 37 seconds left. And then give up 2 big plays. And I'm going to dig into that because that's where I'm struggling. But I like to try and limit myself from jumping down the long-winded rabbit hole and doing a hour-long podcast. I like to try and keep this to like 3 topics, and it seems to be working. I like it. So I'm going to talk about coaching today. I think this was a full team loss. I think everyone contributed to this loss. I'm going to hit social and pull a few because I know they're there, and I want this to be somewhat interactive. There's going to be good ones, and there's going to be a ton of bad ones. And then I actually want to go back to the expectation thing, like based on the talent and the injuries. And that's not an excuse. That's not cornbread, but we got to talk about that part. What do we expect? And then just look forward a little bit, what's coming the next couple of weeks and that kind of thing. So I'm jumping right into coaching because my man cried at the press conference, y'all. Dan Campbell, I mean, literal tears, like tears, wipe away tears, clean my snotty nose with my shirt, crying like some Viola Davis crying. I love Viola Davis. That's a, yeah, go watch the movie Fences. You'll know what I'm talking about. So yeah, Dan Campbell was crying. Now, I loved it. You're going to get people on the radio, probably writing articles, but you're going to hear this common theme this week. The dumbass Dans of the world call this being lionized. They're suggesting being a part of this organization at some point breaks your spirit. That's what they call it, lionized. Much like the 3 letters I hate and the force needs to tell the team that I hate, that's just dumb. It's nonsense. Don't buy it. Don't listen to it. That's okie doke. And no matter what you think of my podcast or my opinions or the whole concept of being what I call team positive, that's what cornbread and Kool-Aid is. It's team positive in any circumstance. I'm generally team positive. Today, I probably should be pissed. This was a bad loss. This was a tough loss. It was an ugly game to watch for most of the game, but I just don't do that. There's a ton of those dudes out there, know-it-alls, negative people. I'm a positive guy by nature, and about this team, it is positivity on steroids. So I'm never going to be that. I'm team positive all the time. So I can be objective. I can be honest. I can criticize where criticism is deserved, But I'm always going to also tell you, I see something when I see improvement. Like, you can't say Campbell didn't learn from last week because he took the field goals, right? He took the field goals this week. And although they were ugly and have a serious problem with their red zone efficiency, which we'll talk about when I geek out, uh, he took the field goals. And because he took the field goals, when Minnesota makes the catastrophic mistake, they tie the game. If he doesn't take those field goals, maybe he scores and it's a different game, but maybe they get stopped like last week. Maybe something ridiculous happens and you don't get points out of those 5 red zone possessions and you got 1 score last week. That can't happen again. So I see, oh wait, he learned. That's cool. I hope Cephas's injury isn't huge because he was making improvements. I like what I've seen from Quintez Cephas. But there's some things I didn't like, right? And so when he's crying at the press conference, what I see is a guy who cares, not a guy who's lionized, whatever lionized means. I mean, I know what it means. I just hate it. I think he said a number of times he was proud of the team. I like his passion. I'm not saying that passion plays any role in them winning whenever they actually win a football game. And by the way, stop the 0-17 nonsense. If you're watching this team, you know they're good enough to win games in this league. And one of these games, they're going to put together a complete game and they're going to win some games. Stop it. The 0-17 is just a dick move, and I hate it. Sorry, but they make huge mistakes and they miss opportunities. And that is something that I think can be coached. Right. Today, O'Rarie, who's struggling right now. I don't know how I feel about him. I hate to just come down on somebody young and talented who's not playing well, but he's not. And he had a pick that was tipped to him. You got to make that play. You got to make that play. And he didn't. I think that Anzalone, who is much improved from, say, week 2, made the play when he needed to make the play. So it's clear to me that Dan Campbell learned from last week, but I still believe that there are some philosophical things coaching-wise that he has to clean up. On the offensive side, I'm a massive, massive Anthony Lynn fan. I like the creativity in the offense. I like the way they use the running backs. I like some of those wide receiver bubble screens, but today I don't think he had a good day, particularly in the first half. I think there were some calls that I didn't understand. I get that there's injuries, right? He doesn't have, in theory, the top receiver, didn't have a Pro Bowl center, and you're starting left tackle. So your offensive line is makeshift, and it showed. It showed. But I didn't like, I do not like the red zone play calling, if that makes sense. Yeah, red zone play calling is killing me. There's got to be a way to get the ball in the end zone. That's what you have to figure out. That's your job as a coach. Which plays work, which ones don't, which ones fit, which ones don't. Sure, Goff's got to protect the ball better. I think we knew that, though. I'm not saying it's okay. And I heard theories from his hands are small, so he fumbles a lot, but his strip fumbles are never his fault. Penei Sewell did not have a good day today. I think this is a minimum 2 consecutive games, maybe even 3, where Sewell didn't play well. That's an issue. That's something that he probably just needs to go back to right when Decker comes back, and let's make the line as a whole better, hopefully. But their play calling in the red zone has been horrible for back-to-back weeks. And I think that's on Anthony Lynn. And it's tough because in general, there are times when their offense flashes efficiency, productivity flashes. It's Anthony Lynn's job to make that more consistent. Similarly, Aaron Glenn on the defense side of the ball, it's this dichotomy because there's not a lot of talent on that defense, right? And you see flashes. I see Anzalone is better than he was Green Bay week 2. He's playing better football, period. I challenge anybody to say Anzalone isn't playing better. He is. I see Derek Barnes using the speed that they drafted him for to make plays. He's making plays. One play today sucked, right? He got there. He was out of control. And then Madison goes for, 40 or whatever he did. Barnes made the right read. He got there. I mean, he literally physically got to the spot he needed to be in, but he was out of control and he didn't make the tackle. One play, big play, game changing, right? My problem defensively is twofold. One, I feel like anytime a team is in third and name the number over 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15, it feels like they convert every time. I know they don't. And if I went back and look at the stats, it's not nearly as bad as I think it is. But I feel like they can't get off the field. They can't get off the field. And that's got to be cleaned up. They have to be better on 3rd and whatever, more than 7. 3rd and more than 7 plays, they got to get better. And that is the calls he's making at that time. And it's not simple. I'm probably making it sound simple. Just rush 6 or just blitz. Well, when you blitz, then you've got man coverage. You're putting AJ Parker and Bobby Price and Amani Oruwariye, who I just told you is not playing well. You're putting them in man situations against Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. That's a bad idea, right? So you're doing this delicate balance of, where do I send the pressure? How do I get pressure? Well, I got to get pressure with 4 because my corners, my defensive backfield isn't as good as I'd like them to be. And that's tough. I'm not even saying, I'm making it sound easy, but Aaron Glenn's got a really hard job because that defense isn't that talented. And now that's all perspective talent, right? I'm saying, these guys are NFL players and they're good NFL players. So I'm not saying they're bums. I'm not saying I could suit up and do anything about it, right? I'm simply saying that as it relates to the talent on the other side of the ball or comparable to other teams' talent, Patrick Peterson, for example, one of the Vikings corner who just made plays, right? The 3 or 4 times they went toward Peterson, he made the play. Every time. Quiet. You didn't hear a lot because he just made the play and then they stopped throwing at him. That's what a good corner does for you. That's what a good corner does for you. He hides bad safety play. He can hide bad linebacker play. And that's what we don't have. And maybe remote opportunity, remote chance, Jeff Okudah grows into that. Not Patrick Peterson, but a good corner. But doesn't matter because he's not going to play this year. So it's a tough balance that Aaron Glenn has to do. But the second one is more important. And I'm not trying to be that guy. Maybe I am being that guy. Yeah, I might be trying to be that guy. I just don't understand. I should never have felt the need to text Art and say too much time. Yeah, they had 2 timeouts, but they had the ball at the 20, 25-ish. All you got to do is not give up 45 yards in essentially 3 plays, maybe 4 plays, right? Tackle them in the field of play to make them use the timeouts on the first 2 plays, and don't let them get to your 35. Don't let them get to your 40, And we've seen it twice in 3 weeks. We saw when with Baltimore, all you do is hold them to like a 20-yard play and you give up 36. And all the reports are one guy made a mistake. You can't make that mistake. Today, they gave up 2 chunk plays. And Minnesota spiked it, and it became easy. They actually burned a few seconds to make sure. So they might have had even another play. But I think that scheme, my belief, and I'm not a coach, right? It does not appear to me that the concept works very often. Let's just rush 3 and drop 8 because somehow there's still a guy running alone 25 yards downfield. What are those 8 guys doing? Because it's not clear to me. My philosophy is if you got to get, especially against Baltimore, when they needed like 19 and they got 36 or whatever it was. If I rush 5 guys, rush 6 guys, you don't have time to even run a pattern, to run a route that can get you 30 yards downfield because your quarterback will be sacked by then, right? So you're telling me you can't drop 6 guys back 15, 18 yards downfield, rush 6. And if he throws it underneath for a 12-yard gain, guess what? Great. You're not getting a field goal from there. If you make a stop on one of those plays today, they don't make that field goal. And it is concept, it is scheme. And in my mind, it's telling your team, forget everything we've done for the whole game because you got pressure. Charles Harris got pressure. You had pressure. You moved Cousins out of the pocket. Rush 4 at least. I send 5 guys. If you got to get 30 yards to make the game-winning field goal, and maybe I'm wrong, I'm thinking about it now. The statement might be, our cornerbacks are so bad, it doesn't matter. That's it. So this might go back to talent, right? It might go back to talent. but I'm struggling to keep having these conversations about, oh, they fought well and they didn't give up and they're this close. I'm not upset, right? It might look like it. I'm not. They need to win a game. They need to win a game. And is it that it's that simple? I don't care how many they win eventually. Right now, I'm just tired of this. I didn't like how they played for 3 minutes relative to how they played the 50 minutes before that, the 52, 55 minutes before that. That is what's bothering me, the inconsistency. The play calling was, I mean, it was an ugly watch until 3 minutes left. And how does that happen? Because I'm not buying Minnesota went into a certain kind of scheme that allowed them. That's not what happened. Minnesota didn't let them score that last touchdown. Minnesota's not a good football team. They did everything they could to give you your first win, and you refused to take it. And it's tough because I truly believe that if I'm in Aaron Glenn's shoes, it's way more complicated than I realize, and the talent deficiency could be way more stark than I'm understanding. So he has to play this, drop 8 guys back and try and make a play. Except the handful of times we've seen that, there's still some dude wide open 25 yards down the field. So how is the rush 3 drop 8 concept supposed to work? Because it's not. And at some point I get to, that's not working. I'm going to try something different. Maybe. I don't know. But coaching contributed greatly to today's loss, in my opinion. I believe coaching contributed quite a bit to today's loss. The players did their part though. So it's tough. It's tough. But I'm gonna go ahead and check some social. This should be fun. I'm gonna try not to just pick ones that piss me off. It's gonna be easy though, because most of them are gonna piss me off, but that's fine. I think it's important that on the podcast you don't just hear my opinion. That's the point. In case people are wondering, why does he go to social media when he hates all those idiots? That's a great question. Except somebody suggested that even though the podcast is good, it might be better if you share the opinions and thoughts of other Lions fans and then comment on it. In practicality, this is a bunch of dumbass Dans saying dumbass Dan stuff. So, but I'll do it. I mean, it still gets fun. So let's see what we got. I'm just gonna jump in. This one's long. Garrett, how the hell that's a great start. How the hell do you let them complete 2 long passes? You know they're gonna throw the damn ball, bring some pressure, and take away the deep routes. Okay, so that one is fine because I kind of just said the same thing. I just spent 2 minutes, 3 minutes talking about that. So I agree with Garrett. I think there's got to be some hybrid, right? The idea that if you rush 4, which you do most of the game, you're going to get toasted because you didn't get toasted. If you can't drop 7 dudes in coverage and cover the bulk of the field, there's only 5 guys in a pattern, by the way. For those of you who don't realize, there's only 5 eligible receivers on a given play. If 7 dudes can't cover 5 dudes and not give up 25 yards, I don't get it. I get it. You got to cover the deep stuff. Nobody can get behind you. So 2 of those guys are 30 yards back on either half of the field. Those are your safeties. The other 5 guys should play somewhere around 15, 18 yards. And if those front guys get any kind of pressure, the quarterback can't stay in the pocket long enough to complete a 30-yard pass. Unless he scrambles, creates something, somebody loses their man. I guess all that stuff could happen. But I'm with Garrett. So that one was easy because I just spent time on it. Let's do one more. Mike. So, sorry. This one's good. Sorry. So glad Stafford was the problem. So obviously I love that one. It gives me an opportunity to make a gratuitous Matthew Stafford reference, which for those who don't listen consistently or have never listened, I am an unapologetic Matthew Stafford fan. I always say it that way for a reason. I have data to back me up that in his time here, Matthew Stafford was really good. I think we had a decade of quality quarterback play and we never appreciated the dude. And so I think Mike, I wonder if this is my super producer playing the game and he stuck there. No, it's not my mic. It's another mic. Yeah. So right now they're 0-5 and can't blame Stafford. Dang, that sucks. What are we gonna do now? And I don't even blame Goff. Coming into the game, his QB rating was plus 90 for all four of the first games. Having watched every single play, he played a role. He made some bad decisions. He threw a really bad interception today and last week. I wouldn't sit here and say Goff is the reason they're 0-5. I think Jared Goff played well enough for them to win 2 games without question, and maybe a third. I think the truth is we're not very talented. We're not very talented, period. Like on defense, particularly, both of them. We're not very talented. And we got a ton of injuries. I'll talk about that. All right, let me see what we got. Richard, a valiant effort, but of course that inning was all too predictable. Saw it from a mile away. Okay, that's bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on that one. So I'm not going to call him a dumbass Dan. That's BS though, because nobody saw Minnesota fumbling the football under 2 minutes and the Lions have no timeouts. They could have kneeled and punted, right? All they had to do was execute a simple running play and not turn the ball over at the 20. You didn't see that coming, Richard. You're full of crap. There's no chance you saw. Now, if you're saying, oh, once the Lions scored and got 2-point conversion, it was 37 seconds left, you knew, you're still lying. You're still being that dude. And I don't like that dude. And I'm going to call that dude. You didn't. I didn't. Nobody did. Now, there are people going to say it because that was an easy thing to do. Oh, they're still going to find a way to lose. They're the Lions. That's an easy thing to do. But had they made one play, Richard would have been out here posting proud of the guys for their fight or can't believe they held on, something like that. But anytime this happens, the dumbass Dans come out of the woodworks and drop dumb shit like this on a post. Sorry. I don't like these people. That's not good. I don't know Richard personally. I know nothing about this guy. That post is crap. Period. One more. I can't talk about it. Oh, crap. There it is. Okay. All right. I don't even want to say this dude's name. No, it's Melvin. So Melvin, I hope Melvin's listening. I wish Melvin was listening. Here's Melvin's gym. This will always be the Lions unless there is new ownership. So we're doing that now. We're doing that. Sheila was out there in coverage and failed to cover Adam Thielen. That was Sheila Ford Hamp's problem. Sheila Ford Hamp called the defensive play that left dudes wide open. It was Sheila who missed the block that caused the strips. That's what it was. I'm sorry. I can't handle unintelligent people. And he's not unintelligent because he thinks what he thinks. He might be a smart guy. He's unintelligent because he posted that bullshit. That's why. That's just dumb. I don't even know why you would post that. That's just look at me, guy. I'm gonna say something about this is the same idiots that booed her a couple weeks ago. Is that what that is? What is that? I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. Y'all gotta educate me. I don't understand why fans would boo the owner of a team over some Calvin Johnson nonsense. And Calvin didn't want you guys booing her. Calvin was like, come on, y'all. Doesn't matter. Who posts this? Who posts this after a game? This will always be the Lions unless there is new ownership. What does that even mean? What did Sheila Ford Hamp do today that caused them to lose that football game? Somebody has to tell me because I honestly don't know. And this is the kind of stuff that frustrates me. I want Lion fans to be better than they are. No, that's not true. Most of us are great fans. Most of us would not have booed Sheila. Most of us enjoy our team and we back them. I see people on the podcast post. I see them on the Twitter feed. The whole reason I do this is because I know there's more people like me than there are like Melvin and Richard. And I don't know those guys. So I'm not making any comments about them personally. Both of their posts suck. It tends to make me believe they're not smart people, but I don't know them. And I know there's more of us than there are of them. So I don't even know why I get upset, right? And they win. They win because I just spent 6 minutes on my podcast talking about their stupid asses. That's on me. Sorry. I'm gonna move on. I'm done. See, social disappoints me. I wanted to be a part of the podcast, but then that happens. And it's like, what am I supposed to do? Right? Because then I end up just going off and saying stuff. I don't get it. I don't get it. And if you're someone who knows me, someone who's listening, and you agree with them, you can tell me why. I am not the person who believes that I'm right all the time. I'm willing to hear someone explain to me how Sheila Ford Hamp contributed to the loss of this football game today. I am willing to listen to it. Like, it better be legit. It better make a modicum of sense. Don't come to me with some nonsense about something that happened 40 years ago, because Sheila's only been the chairperson of this team for a year. So don't tell me something her dad did 20 years ago or something her mom did 5 years ago, because that's stupid. And I don't do stupid. Sorry. Call me a lot of things. Passionate, cornbread eater, your team, call me all that. I'm not stupid. And posts like that are stupid. It just is. And maybe Melvin felt better about himself, and this is how Melvin gets through life, is posting dumb shit whenever he feels bad. I don't know. Maybe. All right. All right. So now I got to talk about expectations, because the truth is, the real, like, hard truth that I don't like to accept easily, and other people do, is that we're just not a talented football team yet. Cornbread has to add the yet, right? Because it's coming. But right now, we're not that good. So I think we have to level set our expectations. And yes, this is coming from the guy who said they'd win 9 football games. Expectations change. There's no chance they're going to win 9 football games. They're not good enough. They weren't good enough before all the injuries. They're certainly not good enough now. So I have to change. And I don't even want to go now and go, oh, I'm going to predict. I still think there's 5, 6 winnable games on the schedule. But I thought today was winnable. I thought they won until they, I thought last week was winnable, right? I had them at 2 and 3 right now. So it's not like I'm way out of whack. Problem is, Cincinnati's better than I thought. I'm not happy about what might happen next week. But the truth is, they haven't put together a complete game. And I keep saying, when they put together, the problem is they're not talented enough to put together a complete game. And they have a lot of injuries. So the reality is this: it's going to be a long season. They're going to win games. They're going to win 3, 4. They might pull 5 games. I don't even know. They're going to win some games. That's not the point. That can't be the point anymore. We have to shift now already. And that's fine. We this moment was going to come at some point in the season where we have to start talking about longer term things. I don't want to hear anybody say those 3 letters. I don't want to hear anything about Sheila Ford Hamp selling the team. I don't want to hear anything about 0-17. I don't want to hear any of that, because that's all nonsense. There are good players on this team that have to get better, right? And I saw some stuff today. And that's what I have to do with the podcast, is I have to come on and not just be all wine and roses, because that's nonsense. They lost the game today. They should have won. They put themselves in a position to win the game. And then the coaches, in my opinion, lost them the game. Well, they didn't play well enough early to win the game. So I'm not saying they deserve the win. I'm saying with 37 seconds, they were in a position to win. And I believe their coaches failed them today. I think that sort of prevent, rush 3, drop 8 concept says we are not good enough to stop them. So we're going to take, as opposed to let's go get this. I think it is really let's try not to lose instead of let's win. When you had just literally 20 seconds earlier went for 2, aggressively went for 2 to win the game. And then you come out on 4 defensive snaps and play not to lose. That's a struggle for me. So it's not about blame. Doesn't matter. Last week, they just played so horribly. They weren't going to beat anybody. 2 weeks ago, they did enough to win the game. And then they did the same thing. They tried not to lose late. And I think that is what, in my mind, truly brought tears to Dan Campbell's eyes today. He realizes we played the last defensive possession not to lose. And that's not what I promised these people we were going to be. That's not who I told them the Detroit Lions were going to be. We could have forgiven them if they rush 6, almost get Cousins. He chucks one up and the guy catches it. We would have said that was aggressive. You tried to win the game. And my problem is they didn't. They didn't do it against Baltimore. And they didn't do it today. They tried not to lose. And oftentimes that's exactly what happens. You lose the game. But I have to keep harping on the lack of talent. Again, all due respect to the guys that are suiting up, putting their bodies on the line. It's not a talented football team. So they weren't good at the start of the season. But think about it. Right now, no Decker, who I don't care how you feel about him. Taylor Decker's a good left tackle. If you don't want to say he's a Pro Bowl type, he's a good left tackle. Frank Ragnow is absolutely a Pro Bowl center. He went to the Pro Bowl. So you're missing two really good offensive linemen. Tyrell Williams still in protocol. Don't know if he's coming back. Okuda's gone for the year. Melifonwu, young, but they're both talented. And a big one is Romeo Okwara. Done. Those are massive, massive pieces. I could contend that those are four of your best 7 or 8 players. Decker, Ragnow, Romeo, and I won't say that about Okuda. He wasn't there yet. And the big players gone, right? And they lost Quintez Cephas today. So your receiving core took another hit. Your offensive line, probably the best unit on the team, is we're missing 2 guys. The 2 best guys. The 2 best guys. So that's what you got up front. And that's not meant to disrespect anybody who played. That's just truth. That's just truth. Injuries are a big deal. So you took a team that was not good, and then you took away easily 3 of their best 6, 7 players in Decker, Ragnow, and Romeo. And their best 2 corners, regardless of how good you think they are or are not. You took away their 2 best corners. That's what you did to a team we thought was going to win 6 or 7 games. Most people thought that. So this should not be surprising, and this is about expectations. I'm not going to come on and predict them to lose next week. That's not how I get down. I'm never going to do that. So you can go to your radio station tomorrow afternoon for that nonsense. I'm never going to do that. Because there are guys who played well today. There are guys who are playing well. Jamal Williams was a great signing. I'm a big Jamal Williams guy. Charles Harris played well today. Tracy Walker played well today. And I think that Swift is just, if they use him right, Swift impacts the game. DeAndre Swift can do so many things well. He impacts the game. The tandem at running back is really, really good, though. So there are pieces there. There are young players to get excited about. Penei Sewell is going to be fine. Wherever he ends up, he's going to be better. I like what I see from Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't know how bad Quintez Cephas' injury is, but hopefully it's not bad. And by the way, major boo to Chris Myers on Fox. Seriously, called the man Quentin Cephas 15 times. His own sideline reporter came up and called him Quintez. And he put his name on the screen, Quintez. Literally, Chris Myers called him Quentin Cephas. And Daryl Johnson, his sidekick, went along. They must have called him Quentin Cephas 10 times. And if you know me well enough, you know that kind of nonsense bothers me. It's not important in the grand scheme. Who cares? Who cares? And that's probably what he's thinking. But nobody at Fox can just get in his ear and go, yo, bro, his name is Quintez, not Quentin. Stop calling him Quentin. Just say Cephas if you don't know his name. Look at the piece of paper in front of you, right? But that's the kind of stuff that bothers me. So I'll take that one. I think Anzalone played well today. I think having Trey Flowers back is a good thing. So I have to try and find Flowers in this, right? And it's tough. That's a tough loss, if nothing else. I think I called it a bad loss because I think they contribute to their own demise more than any team. But that's what a lack of talent is. None of this is rocket science, right? When your players aren't good enough, they make mistakes, right? They miss blocks that cause your quarterback to get strip sacked. They commit holding penalties because they're getting beat. They drop interceptions. That's what they do. And then your coach, knowing they suck, calls certain schemes to try and hide the fact that they suck. So once I get through, like now, just in the 40 minutes of this podcast, I have processed this game and I'm good to go. I think next week should be interesting. The Bengals come to town and they have good receivers and they got a good young quarterback. This one has the potential to be ugly, except that's not what the Lions have been doing. Green Bay got away in the second half because we turned the ball over. Chicago was not good and we beat ourselves. Today was really an ugly game. I mean, this is a rare, I'm not sure I even enjoyed watching this game, quite frankly, but it's still, this is what they do. I don't believe in all the other nonsense. I'm having a hard time not just saying, the Bengals are going to roll us because I just don't know if this is a team that gets rolled. I think there'll be games that'll be ugly. I would like to see them put together a complete 4-quarter game in all 3 phases of football and just see how that turns out. But I realize That's the pipe dream I have. They're not good enough to put together 4 quarters of football in all 3 phases. This is a team that will commit mistakes and beat themselves. They will drop interceptions. They will miss tackles. They will make bad decisions at quarterback and throw costly interceptions. They'll miss blocks and result in strip sacks, and they'll get in the red zone and come away with 3 over and over and over. So the expectations are getting reset. The idea that they are better than what they appear to be, no. They're 0-5. That's what they are. I could do another 45 minutes on, I think they're better than that. I think they should have won the Baltimore game. I think they should have won today. They played a great first half against Green Bay. Don't nobody want to hear that. Nobody wants to hear. I don't even want to hear that. I don't even want to hear that. The coaching staff has work to do. But with these injuries, because these are some big injuries, it's not going to get better soon. We need an influx of talent, and next offseason will give us that. So we'll live with whatever happens this year. That pick is going to be top 5, almost certainly. I refuse to talk 0-17. This team plays hard enough that they will catch some teams napping, and there's a couple of teams on the schedule they're just as good as, and they'll win some games. So I don't want to hear that. And I still think they'll pick top 5. So we got work to do, but we will see what happens next week with the Bengals, and we'll come back and do this all over again. I hope you enjoyed today. I went off a little bit. Apologies to anybody who's offended. No, never mind. I don't apologize to anybody who's offended. That's how I felt. And, if Garrett is probably fine, so is Mike. If Richard or Melvin are offended, don't post dumb stuff. Sorry. That's my answer. Don't start nothing, won't be nothing. So I hope you enjoyed the podcast. We will be back next week. I'm putting together something around the Tigers, Pistons, and Wings, but it's not coming together as well as I thought. What I'm going to do without question is something in about 10 days. If both college teams go take care of business, we got a business meeting in Bloomington, and that other school's got a game somewhere. I don't really care. They take care of business, and we both are going into October 30th undefeated. There will certainly be a Cornbread and Kool-Aid podcast on that game. And just that game. I'll just do one middle of that week on that game. It will be green and white Kool-Aid, in case you don't already know. So if you don't like it, don't listen. If you're too scared to listen, don't listen. But rest assured, my feelings about it are exactly what you might think they are. So we're going to come back and do the Lions. I'm probably going to wait until the Pistons and Wings kick off real games. I don't see the point of doing a podcast on preseason games. I think that the week of the game, there'll be a podcast for sure. And I'm going to do some off-season stuff on the Tigers because I think they're going to make some moves. So we'll kick it up a notch. But right now we're Lions heavy, and we should be. This is the beginning of something. It doesn't feel like it, guys, but I need you to trust me. This is the beginning of something, and I hope they make this less painful than it has been through 5 weeks. So appreciate you joining me. Hope you liked it. Everybody have a good day, and we will see you next week. Thank you.